Okay, so using the book The Harvest of Hellenism and Light from the Ancient East, I'm going to show you how people try to make Paul out to be a dodo head. But first, I'm going to read from the Bible in Philippians chapter 3, starting in verse 5, to show you that he's not a dodo head. He just didn't care about worldly position and money and trying to flatter people into believing about God, and was beaten 5 times with 39 stripes and told people to bear their cross like Christ did and be obedient unto death. So in verse 5 of chapter 3, Philippians, it says, circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, an Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee, concerning zeal, persecuting the church, touching the righteousness which is of the law, blameless. But what things were gained to me, those I count loss for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but poop, that I may win Christ. So then we go to Harvest of Hellenism, and it's talking about John too. It's talking about John and Paul. So it says, Paul and John were mere naive pioneers in a field of infinite complexity. They had brought Christian mythos to the edge of Hellenic speculative theology, so the Grecian philosophy, and others were left the exciting but dangerous task of converting the impressionistic lines of the original Kerygma preachers into a detailed explanation that would square with what the Christian community, speaking through its bishops, judged as orthodoxy. Oh, that's insane. And what the Hellenes, the Grecians, speaking through their philosophies, judged as making sense. So we need to combine Christianity with philosophy. That bishop and philosopher were sometimes the same man, merely added to the complication, because the Grecian philosophers were coming over to and because they were confused and thought they might be Christians, and came up with a bunch of hocus pocus, jibber jabber, gobbledygook. The exegesis of St. Paul's letters, therefore, becomes spontaneously a matter of psychological reproduction, justice being done to the ebb and flow of the writer's temporary moods. The single confession in the letters of a nature so impulsive as St. Paul's were dashed down under the influence of 100 various impressions, and were never calculated for systematic presentment. The strange attempt to paste them together mechanically in the belief that thus Paulinism might be reconstructed will have to be given up. Thus Paulinism will become more enigmatical, but Paul himself will be seen more clearly, a non-literary man of the non-literary class in the imperial age. That's not what it says of himself, but prophet-like in personality, rising above his class and surveying the contemporary educated world with the consciousness of superior strength. All the traces of systemization that are found here and there in him are proofs of the limitation of his genius. The secret of the greatness lies in religion apart from system. So it said right there, limitation of his genius. Well, that's not even what Christianity is about. And that's what it said in Light from the Ancient East by Adolf Deissmann. And then the first one was here, where they call them naive. Paul and John were just a couple of naive people. Well, okay, well, if you want to go that route, yeah, so were all of the disciples. It doesn't say they were like geniuses or anything like that, but they died and were beaten and murdered and killed for confessing that Jesus was Lord, and not Rome or any of these philosophers or Grecian philosophers. They said you have to give all that up, give up your own ideas of intelligence and all that that useless like gobbledygook, coming from academics. So all right, well, I hope that helps, and thanks for watching. Bye.